In today's video, we're going to do something a bit different and start a documentary series on how to pass a prop firm challenge using our Golden Time Bomb prop version. So with the launch of our new Golden Time Bomb prop, I wanted to put my money where my mouth is and effectively show our users how they could use this bot to pass a prop firm challenge. Moreover, to do this, I wanted to actually start a prop firm challenge with you guys so that you'd be able to follow along and watch regular YouTube video updates to see a bot pass a challenge in real time and follow along with the signal. So to actually choose a prop firm to use, I went with the Blueberry funded OnePhase account here for a few different reasons. First of all, I like that it has a static drawdown, so we don't have to worry about crazy trailing drawdowns. And it has a relatively modest profit target at 10%. I also like Blueberry as they have low spreads, so it tends to work well with scalping style bots. But the biggest downside of Blueberry is that we're having very limited leverage here. So to walk you through it here, leverage for metals and commodities is only 1 to 10. So because of this particular account is going to focus on a very conservative, more slow and steady way of passing a prop firm challenge. Whereas we can, in our more premium pass prop firms bundle, use a more aggressive style which will pass faster. But the Time Bomb prop bot is effectively just an upgrade over our normal Golden Time Bomb, which is meant to pass prop firm challenges and has features in place which help users pass prop firm challenges and still stay on side of the risk settings as well as the general rules of the prop firm. So this is not a dedicated ultra fast prop passing tool. It's more an upgrade of an existing product which is meant to pass challenges in a more conservative manner. So just to kind of walk you guys through what I will be doing, here's some of the rules of this prop firm specifically. As you guys can see, I have this brand new fresh account which I bought this morning. And it is a OnePhase $10,000 account. I like Blueberry because they also have the MetaTrader platform, and they're not paying me. It's just one of the prop firms that I generally use. And to give a quick skim of their EA specific rules, it's always good to check this before you purchase a prop firm. And the good thing is all of these restricted types of trading like latency arbitrage or HFT are not going to be done by Time Bomb. Therefore, Time Bomb should stay well within the rules of the prop firm. Moreover here, quite a few prop firms don't specifically ban third-party EAs. They just don't like if the trades are exactly the same. You've probably seen this with FTMO. And one of the features behind Time Bomb Prop is that it has a randomizer in it which essentially solves this issue. So it adds a few points here and there to when it actually places a trade, and it also uses some slight time delays just to create that variation so that we can ideally stay onside the prop firm's rules. So here, just to kind of show you guys one last time, we will be targeting a 10% profit target with a max daily loss of 4%, as well as a max total loss of 6%. And before diving into MetaTrader, I really wanted to show you guys how this 1 to 10 leverage will affect how we do our position sizing. And to do that, I just wanted to open up this Excel spreadsheet just to kind of walk you guys through the math. So here we can see we have an account size of $10,000 and we have 10 to 1 leverage. That means that we have buying power of 100 grand. Time Bomb places 2 orders simultaneously. It uses a caller. And because of this, sometimes MetaTrader won't let you place orders if you don't have sufficient buying power. So even if you're only going to let one position open because the second order will be canceled once the first order is triggered, you're not able to actually place 2 orders without sufficient buying power. Therefore, as Time Bomb places a caller, we actually have to divide the buying power by 2 in order to see what our maximum amount of lots or our maximum trade size will be. So here, if we keep walking through, we can see the price of gold this morning is approximately 2,760. So we can calculate the maximum lots which we can trade. And that's as simple as taking the buying power, dividing it by 2, as we're going to be placing 2 orders, and dividing it by the value of 1 lot of gold, multiplying by 100. And that shows that our max lots are around 0.18, which means that we're able to kind of keep walking through here, risk about $100 if we take into account our stop loss of 0.2. which means that we can risk around 1% of the account, so $100 over 10K, which would give us a very conservative setting. So here, to stay within the leverage requirements of this particular account with Blueberry, we have to be relatively conservative. There are some modifications that you can do, like, for instance, maybe run a few different bots in the account. But for this particular challenge, I wanted to show you guys how you can use conservative settings with a very low leverage prop firm, just as one example. If you were using FTMO, for instance, where you can use way more leverage, you could ratchet up the leverage here on Time Bomb. But that would just be for a different example. This is meant to be more like almost the set and forget it prop firm challenge, where it's very low risk. You just throw your bot on, you check back in a couple months, and ideally you've passed. So that's really this particular documentary will focus on that. So to walk you guys through the actual settings I will be using in MetaTrader, here you can see we're using the Golden Time Bomb V7. And if you're not already a Time Bomb user, Time Bomb is a bot which automates the opening range breakout and the London breakout. Just kind of quickly maybe run a visual back test to show you guys how it works. You can see here that it detects the range, it places pending orders, and then ideally scalps a quick profit. And there we go, perfect. So I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Detects a range for both New York and London breakouts and uses a trailing stop loss to detect a quick profit. So to show you guys the actual settings I will be using here, I'm not going to change any of the inputs. I will use a random magic number here just to have some variation in the actual trades which the bot will execute. The actual strategy is not going to change, so not the time ranges and not the trailing stop loss amounts, nor will I change the filters. The one area which I would draw your attention to here is this risk management settings. And if you buy the Golden Time Bomb prop, you'll also see a video detailing all of these settings and how they work. But effectively, here we're able to decide how much we're risking of our balance per day, and we're able to block duplicates as well as make Time Bomb look at just its own trades or look at the entire account. So not to go too much in the weeds, but for what I'm going to be doing for this particular challenge is I'll be risking 1% per day due to the limited leverage. And because I'm risking such a small amount, I will set that I do not have one max daily loss. If I was risking 2% or 4%, what I would do here is I would say you're only allowed to have one loss per day. So then if Time Bomb, for instance, has 4% loss, it will stop trading for the day to stay within the prop firm's risk parameters, or in Blueberry's case, let's say 3.5%. But because I'm capped at the amount of leverage I can use here, I can have 2 losses in a day, and I'm still only losing 2% on the day. Therefore, I will set this to false, and I will risk 1% of the balance per day. And then one thing else I wanted to draw your attention to is the randomizers for prop firm. And this is effectively what I spoke to earlier, where we are going to be using some randomizers to vary our trades relative to other users. So if you set the auto prop randomizer to true, it will add a few little points to the entry prices, so where the pending orders of the range are placed, and it will also add a slight time delay. And here, let me run a quick back test to show you guys what this will look like. So obviously with 1% risk, we are running extremely conservative settings. So therefore, the speed of passing won't be enormously fast. Here we have roughly 50% annual returns. That means that if we catch a good period, we're aiming to pass within 2 to 2.5 months. Hit the 10% profit target, but here our drawdowns, like our max drawdown here is around 3.5%. So that's extremely conservative and means that this can perhaps even be used for a rapid challenge where you have extremely low drawdown limits. If you were to, let's say, be using this on an account which gives you higher leverage, you could set this to 2%. And this is where we would target to see roughly our over 100% return. So here we're seeing almost 150% return. So 140 or 130% return. So very good, very good returns. So yes, that's essentially the current plan, which I'm going to be using here, where I will be using this particular account on very low risk settings as our conservative documentary, as well as be sharing the signal with you guys so you're able to follow along and see how this passes the challenge. I will also likely start with some other prop firms which use more aggressive settings, just so that we can contrast the risks and benefits of all of them. So now let me open up my VPS here. We can see we have this nice fresh Blueberry funded MT5 terminal, just to show you guys how exactly I'm going to get this to run. So here we can see we have a Golden Time Bomb V7 prop, and I will just walk you guys through the input settings. One thing that you guys will have to do, which I don't have to do because I've changed the hard code on my setting, is you will need to enter your license key and your email just to be able to have some variety here. So on magic number, let's say I'm just going to put some random number in. There we go. So none of these settings will change. None of these settings will change. Here, by default, it risks 2%, but as I mentioned, because I'm leverage limited here, I will make this a little bit lower. Let me say I'm going to set it just to 0.95, just to be on the safe side, so that we don't have any insufficient margin amounts, but 1% should in theory work. Max daily loss, I'm going to set to false, because here we are, because we're risking so little, we can have 2 losses in a day. None of this changes with stop losses. Max spread I'm going to keep relatively high, despite the fact that Blueberry has ultra tight spreads, which makes it very good. And with the auto prop randomizer, I'm going to just make it a little bit tighter. I set it a little bit higher to your personal preferences, just to make the odds of being offside lower. However, for me personally, I'm willing to have perhaps a few a little slightly higher risk of having similar trades in order to be as close to the actual strategy as possible. So I'm just going to divide these by 2, where we have very similar settings, but they are going to be quite very similar to the original strategy. So here, let's do one more quick skim. So 0.95, false, perfect. And then here we're at 0.5 max spread, true, true. Randomizer is set to true, and I will press OK. And it's still blue. We go to the experts tab here. We can see expert initialized, auto trading is on. So we should now be very good to go. So I will just bring us back here. So effectively, that's it. And as you guys can see here from the live Golden Time Bomb signal, which has been running since the beginning of October, this is a consistent, profitable strategy, which over time makes very good returns. So here we're going to be running it on some very conservative settings, and ideally we should be able to pass relatively quickly. So I will share the signal with you guys so you're able to follow along and see how Time Bomb prop can be used in your accounts as well. Expect regular updates from me, both for this account and for some higher risk accounts, just so that we can all kind of follow along and see how all of these EAs can be used to pass prop firm challenges. Leave me a comment if you want to learn something in particular, or if you want to see me share something with you guys. Take care, and looking forward to updating you.